It's a work in progress. That's the way I look at it. A lot is being done, a lot still has to be done, and will be done.
Decisions that needed 10 lions to take, okay, and they would have been shivering. He's taking them. Today, Nigeria is off the debtors list of the IMF.
As difficult as it was, and it is, Nigerian people, resilient Nigerian people, are still surviving.
You can wake up in the morning not knowing what will happen, but you can go to bed being the owner of your own property, your own car, support your business with some money, and own your own living. That's your own business space. That is the Tinubu story. That is the sort of story we want to tell people.
We will take Nigeria to that promised land.
2 years ago, Nigeria's story was different. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had inherited an economy at crossroads. Today, Nigeria is charting a bold new course. Buoyed by transformative policies and global confidence, the renewed hope agenda of the Tinubu administration is rewriting the nation's story into one of resilience, reforms, and remarkable progress. By unbundling bureaucracy and championing innovation, the federal government's reforms are catalyzing efficiency in key sectors of the economy. And this is the story, a narrative of a nation rising economically, fueled by bold decisions and the unyielding spirit of its people.
Administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is committed to going beyond stabilizing the economy to achieve rapid, sustained, inclusive growth that will help lift Nigerians in their millions out of poverty. Very, very encouraging signs of the economy turning the corner. And in objective terms, and yes, we are just back from the World Bank, IMF spring meetings in Washington, D.C. And during the course of those meetings, the affirmation that Nigeria is on the right track came even before from Fitch, which, as you know, moved the credit rating of Nigeria from B- to B with a positive outlook.
Nigeria's economic transformative journey has so far focused on certain key elements: sustainable development, resilience, and long-term value creation. The renewed hope agenda has been the driving force behind this voyage, unlocking the potential of the economy and fostering a new era of growth and prosperity.
To build a nation of prosperity, embark on bold endeavor so that your country can be successful.
The administration's mission is built on 3 core pillars: structural reform, economic resilience, and inclusive growth. By prioritizing these areas, the government is sowing the seeds of prosperity, nurturing businesses, and reaping the fruits of progress.
The number of the disabled vehicle in Nigeria now, it has grown compared to what it was prior to 2023. And if you look at the figure, especially in 2024, of those assembled vehicles in Nigeria has really more than double. And apart from that, we've witnessed growth in the area of component parts that are being produced in Nigeria. Again, this is an initiative that we put forward in order to develop the component part production, because a vehicle, I always say, has a lot of component parts, and we have some improvement in the number of component parts that are being produced in Nigeria.
Nursing vehicle manufacturing, not assembling. We are doing manufacturing. That's why we can be able to manufacture motor with engine that can use petrol. Also, we can manufacture motor can use battery, that means electric motor. We can manufacture also CNG vehicles, because we are doing the body, so we can source the engine or the battery or the electric from any source.
A lot have been done in time of CNG. The first thing is to ensure safety. We put in place accreditation program where workshops that we do conversion are accredited, and today we have accredited workshop across the whole country. Like in this 2025, we are going to train about 1,200 technicians.
The intervention by Mr. President, I would say, is the greatest reform we've seen in the pension industry since the enactment of the law itself in 2004 and reenacted 2014. So this is really, really monumental. And what this does is that it increases the purchasing power of ordinary Nigerians. And then another significant part of it, which is the most significant part of it for me, is the provision for the Pension Protection Fund. As part of that bond issuance as well, we have 106.5 billion naira, which is set aside for the Pension Protection Fund. And once we've been able to issue the bond, we will then be able to augment pensions for low-income earners. We are sure that the bond should be issued sometime before the end of this year, so we are very optimistic about that.
Once a raging storm, and the big elephant in the room, inflation, is now being tamed with a decline from 24.48% in January 2025 to 23.18% in February 2025, and certainly more decline ongoing.
I want to assure you that in spite of the challenges confronting our economy, there are clear reasons for optimism. The gradual moderation in inflation, foreign exchange stability, ongoing banking sector recapitalization, and other positive trends in key sectors indicate a path towards macroeconomic growth and stability. We remain committed to staying vigilant and adaptable amidst ongoing global and domestic uncertainties.
The external sector has improved remarkably, with a stable exchange rates, trade surplus, and current account surplus. The fiscal sector has also seen a 60% increase in revenue, driven by petroleum subsidy savings and improved collections. While there is an obvious ambience of a nation thriving together, there are growing evidences of the inclusive economic growth. Ongoing reforms targeting industry, trade, and investment are facilitating access to the international markets, hence the growth of the local markets. These are mostly the products of the administration's focus on human capital, whilst fostering conditions for the growth of micro, small and medium enterprises in the country. The results show rising productivity and poverty reduction, which in itself speaks volumes.
We can produce everything. We have the comparative ability to produce virtually everything, but at what cost and at what quantity and at what quality?
There are some unique products we have which the world has no knowledge about them and which are more strong and authentic, undiluted. Our shea butter standard beats anyone in the world. But you will see the bulk of foreign products from shea butter coming into this country. Look at the beverages we have. High quality. If you go to Jambu now, you see the disappointing thing is that the raw tea materials, they are packing it in their raw form across to Cameroon for repackaging in Europe and elsewhere.
This is even as more businesses are benefiting from some of the government's revised policies. Many of these small businesses are in the heart of Nigeria's economic transformation, and they are a powerhouse of creativity and craftsmanship.
This is my work, and we are making about 300 for this particular product. I've been using the facility and the lights 24 hours, no shortage of lights. There's always lights, and I've been able to meet up.
In a shop, there are some certain things you have to be paying for, like buying fuel, paying for NEPA bills, paying for this. It's actually reduce the cost of all of that. And it makes me meet people like potential customers too.
Under President Tinubu's renewed Hope agenda, agencies under the Ministry of Trade and Investment are mandated to support SMEs to drive creative thinking and innovation.
A de-risking fund with the different states, all 36 states, and the FCT to ensure that SMEs get loans or facilities at almost single-digit rates, where we're not able to achieve single-digit, not at 28 or 32%. And also to let you know that the MSME awards under the last government have now been made bigger under this current government.
One could easily say resilience is now Nigeria's rhythm under the Tinubu administration, considering how vigorous and vibrant the public sector has become. Take, for instance, state-owned enterprises, once considered as drains on resources, now posting profits with the proceeds funding schools, hospitals, and many other capital projects nationwide. Nigeria's bold structural reforms, whether in subsidy removal, tax harmonization, or other sectoral restructuring, are indeed unlocking unprecedented investor confidence.
In the 2025 budget, Mr. President personally ensured that there is provision of 1.5 trillion naira to recapitalize Bank of Agriculture. For us, that is unprecedented. It's incredible. And we're very excited about it because we believe that that amount of capitalization is needed to ensure that we truly provide the resources that our farmers need. The Bank of Industry is the same thing. It's the engine for driving the industrialization within our country. And it cannot do so with the type of support that is needed. We're also established the Nigerian Solid Minerals Company, again to take advantage of the massive collection and repository of minerals that we have in the country. But we need to have strong institutions that have strong governance that will bring both public sector and private sector together to ensure that we're able to leverage and mine the large repository of solid minerals we have in the country. And for us, that will also make a big difference in terms of driving economic growth within the country.
Within 1 year, we've significantly increased the revenue accruing to government. Do a serious calculation of the contribution that this sector has made into the GDP in the last 1 year, you'll be shocked. There's a job creation of over 1,200 from new processing plants that have come on stream within the year, in obedience to our policy initiative on value addition.
In the last couple of years, under this presidency, our world index, our world scoring on ease of doing business has improved significantly. And at this stage, EBE is beginning to look at some of the legislation that may be causing conflict in our free trade zones. Again, this helps to promote export orientation that the zones are supposed to focus on. Now, there's also, we help with exports by developing infrastructure. Now, I must admit, there's been, to develop infrastructure, you need finances and funding. So that's been a bit of a struggle. That's part of what we do. We have to develop sewage plants, roads, power supply, water supply in these zones so that they can go ahead and do the business of production and export. Manufacturing clearly is focused, is one of the key things to export. If you want to export anything, you have to make it first. So we promote manufacturing. We promote logistics. The Lekki Deep Sea Port exports things all the time. They are not the ones making them. They are just a logistics hub. So we promote logistics. All this supports exports.
The president's diplomacy and international engagement alone have secured over $50 billion in pledges for foreign direct investments to the country. This development not only promises to inject new life into the economy, but also translates to a vote of confidence in Africa's largest economy.
We believe that we have delivered quite a bit of impact for Nigerian businesses. We've also taken and aggregated all Mr. President's trips, over 30 trips, and we saw that about $50 billion has been announced and promised for this Nigerian economy. And that's about the figure that people say that we need to rebalance this economy. So we group them into sectors, and we're going after those businesses, those announcements, and those companies to actualize, go through the rigor that will, any bottleneck that they have that will bring those announcements, that money home.
Now, when the president walks into a room and signs a deal, okay, what he does is he signs something you can call a promissory note. Because you have said so, sir. It's what they call letter of intent, if you may, or show of intent or interest. Now, what usually happens is that there should be a proper documentation and drill down. And then the next thing is that the president now comes back, sends it to the appropriate MDAs, okay, and then maybe the technocrats around him to now begin to shape and develop the framework around drawing in these investments. He now begins to look as if, okay, he's just come back and there's a promise of 100 billion. How come we're not seeing it? You're not seeing it because a lot of the work is now being done, in these rooms that people now begin to now sweat out the process.
So yes, expect a lot more stability from the business climate in Nigeria. Expect a lot more efficiency, expect a lot more transparency, expect a lot more automation. We're going to be working very, very closely with Galaxy Backbone to make sure that majority of our government services are automated. At the subnational level, we are also building capacity of our partners, the IPAs and all the other different arms of government that we deal with at the subnational level to make sure that all the amazing policies we have at the federal trickle down into the subnational, because majority of Nigerians live in different states.
The federal government is also driving reforms in the power sector. The plan is to fully implement the unbundling of the sector to ensure efficiency and energize the nation's productive sector.
We have the $500 million that is provision of capital subsidy for interested energy companies, to add their own investment to it and go to various communities to make sure that we establish this.
Within the last 2 years, we completed the implementation of the Nigerian electrification project, through which we impacted more than 8 million Nigerians. We deployed over 1.5 million solar home systems, and we also deployed over 250 mini grids, of which about 6 of them are interconnected mini grids. Just last 3 weeks, we commissioned one of the biggest interconnected mini grid in Ibaragun, a community that is bordering Lagos and Ogun State, where with our partners we deployed 1 megawatt of interconnected mini grid electricity that we injecting into the grid. This is one of the biggest public sector renewable energy funded project in the entire world. It's $750 million project that will catalyze a private sector funding of 1.1 billion, which is aimed to electrify 17.5 million Nigerians. And we have started that already. Process for deployment of 42 interconnected mini grid in our quest to enhance the reliability across the country in collaboration with the distribution companies had already started.
With this commitment, Nigeria's power sector is poised for greatness, and a brighter future is within reach for commerce and industry in Nigeria. However, the journey hasn't been without struggle. Short-term pains have sparked outcry, with many more Nigerian families struggling to make ends meet. The Tinubu administration is, however, balancing urgency with empathy, absorbing every challenge as a stepping stone to a stronger Nigeria, while hopeful that Nigerians do same. In the same breath, the federal government is increasingly responsive to the plights of Nigerians, implementing wage hikes for workers and deploying several palliative measures which show that its reforms come with a human face. Though challenges remain, Nigeria is definitely on an upward trajectory, with the foundation being built for sustained prosperity unshakable. Even now, as the nation stands at a crossroads of hardship and hope, the renewed hope agenda beckons with a resilience that better times lie ahead.
So we've kicked off a 20 billion naira mobility fund, allowing Nigerians to access credit to buy locally assembled vehicles. Recently as well, we did the same thing under that same fund, we had with people getting tricycles, motorbikes. One of the locally assemblers, the biggest one in Nigeria, TVS, was the one that we worked with. They make about 1,170 kekes a day, and we gave people credit to go and purchase those locally assembled goods and services. That means it allows their income to grow. Next, you're going to be seeing is locally assembled furniture and home improvement. That means that people get credit to get locally assembled whatever you need in your house.
It is Nigeria's covenant with tomorrow. As we look beyond the farmlands of the north to the markets in the south, the boardrooms in Lagos and Abuja, to the tech corridors across the country, we see a country where its people, working together, strive to build a brighter future. And with the GDP rising, global trust returning, and millions at work, the seeds sown today promise a harvest of prosperity. Today, 2 years down the lane, Nigeria stands at a pivotal moment in its economic journey. The decisions made today are already determining the pace of the country's growth. The renewed hope agenda has set the country on a path towards a brighter future. And with continued efforts, the nation can achieve its full potential. One can therefore say, it isn't just a policy. Transforming our economy is an ongoing project. The renewed hope agenda is indeed restoring Nigeria's pride.